All right, so it looks like we're halfway there. We're at 211 participants online. All right, so hi everyone, and welcome to today's Symphony Open House for our OASIS industry partners. First, I want to mention that this training or this open house session is being recorded. If you need to refer back to it at a later date, or if you want to share it with any of your colleagues who may not be able to attend today's session. So thank you all for registering and attending, and thank you all for sending over your questions in advance. We have the questions and we'll be answering some of those questions live at the end of today's session. We've slated an hour and a half for this session. We don't believe it will take an hour and a half, but we wanted to make sure that we set ample time aside to be able to answer all of the questions, if not most. So if you all remember back to the OASIS PMR in November of last year, I announced that the OASIS program would be transitioning to Symphony and eBuy for external orders sometime this fiscal year. And we're here. So the next month, on May 19th, our office, the Office of Professional Services and Human Capital's category, will discontinue ordering agencies' use of the email Google Groups links as a means to solicit OASIS task order, requests for proposals, requests for information, and other market research from OASIS contract holders. So as of May 19th, 2023, all external OASIS task orders must be placed through the Symphony Procurement Suite or GSA eBuy. So what does this mean for industry? It means that if you are an OASIS contract holder, it is your company's responsibility to keep your contact information current and up to date in Symphony as it relates to any and all corporate OASIS contract managers, program managers, or company email distribution changes in order to be notified of opportunities that will be posted in Symphony. As we move forward to May 19th, we wanted to hold this open house to answer final questions and to announce the official date of the transition from the email that you received to Symphony and eBuy, and to hear any questions and concerns that you all may have. As I mentioned earlier, please hold any questions that you have until the end. Jennifer Donati from Apex Logic is here today, and she's going to provide additional information and instruction to answer questions related to Symphony for OASIS. But before I introduce Jennifer, I want to mention that we have several customer training sessions that we will be holding for OASIS customers in the months of April and May. So if you know of customers who are not currently using Symphony, you're welcome to share the training dates with them. We have them on our website, but the dates are April 18th, 11 a.m. Eastern, April 25th, 1 p.m. Eastern, May 2nd, 1 p.m. Eastern, and May 9th, 11 a.m. Eastern. So with that, Jennifer Donati from Apex Logic, we welcome you. And Jennifer is going to share some useful information as far as how to set up your email distribution in Symphony so that your company doesn't miss opportunities that are automatically emailed to you from Symphony, and other useful knowledge nuggets. So Jennifer, the floor is yours.
I hope I have quite a few nuggets. Thanks, Chelsea. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off. I want to make sure that everybody is registered, so I'm going to quickly go through that. If you are already registered and you are in Symphony, I'm sorry, I will make this short and sweet. But there are some questions still regarding that we get through the help desk regarding being activated. And so I will go ahead and just run through that real quickly, and then talk to you more about how Symphony notifies your companies when there are opportunities that are posted on Symphony, when amendments are made, when awards are made, how you get notified, and who needs to have access to it. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? I'm going to try and hide this.
Yes, we can see Jennifer.
So we're looking at my browser right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to move these controls out of the way. So we are looking right now at, this says OASIS demo only, do not use this URL. Obviously, we don't want you logging in here and trying to register, it won't work. This is simply for demonstration purposes. As the URL states, please do not use this URL. When you are registering in Symphony for OASIS, this is where you would go. You would go to oasis.app.cloud.gov, standard government approval, and then you would be able to go ahead and register in here. If you have not registered prior to today, please click register now. Please note that we check all company information against SAM, so you will be asked your UEI. Please make sure you have the correct UEI and cage code for the company that you are registering for inside of Symphony, the one that is linked to the contract that has been awarded, so that you can make sure that you have access to all of that company's information. Some companies have numerous cage codes, so please make sure that you are selecting the right one. And I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that to you. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of the correct URL. So when I go in here, I will agree to the government stipulations, and I'm going to go ahead and click register now. If for some reason you need some additional help, there are help buttons everywhere. Click help. It will go to our help desk. We respond really quickly. We know that you guys are anxious to get this information, so we are try to be as supportive as possible. Please also know that we do not compete inside of OASIS. We don't have a contract, even though in the demo site, it does show that we do have one. We don't. We are not your competitors. We're here to help you. Just use Symphony and get as much support as you need. So let me go ahead and click register now. I am going to, you just hold on one moment. I have to stop sharing for just 1 second. I'm sorry. So if I'm going to go ahead and I just had to get a code. Remember when DUNS numbers were available for you and how easy they were to memorize for your company? I needed to make sure that I had that available. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Sorry about that. UEI numbers are not easy to remember. So I am in here. I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to go ahead and put in my email address. I'm going to go ahead and just register bob@apexlogic.com. And it's going to ask me for my validation code. I'm going to type in the validation code. This is a number that you would have received via email. Okay. If you don't receive it via email, you might want to check the email address that you put in here. If you haven't checked your junk mail, if it's still not in there, you may hit cancel. We've all made typos in our emails, so sometimes that does happen. You may want to just enter it again. So just simply click cancel and start again. I just entered in the validation code. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. You'll notice that you'll get these three messages. This is making sure that you have a multi-factor authentication method. You can use your phone, SMS, you're going to be asked to put in your phone number, or you can use an authenticator app. And you simply go to the App Store, you download one of the authenticator apps. We really like Google app, it's free. It adds, you can add, if you have other instances of Symphony, you can add it on there. For some reason, the Microsoft Authenticator doesn't like, excuse me, similar applications with different MFA codes. So just go ahead and download the app, install it on your phone. And then when we show you the QR code during registration, you just simply show it the QR code, excuse me. And then you'll be added to, it'll be linked to your account. That is really nice because it keeps the number going. So every time you want to log in, the number is always available simply by opening that app. With SMS, sometimes if your network is running slow or you're on Wi-Fi in some government buildings, sometimes you don't always get the SMS code in time, and it does expire within 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and verify that I have my multi-factor authentication, that I do know the UEI and cage code for the company that I'm trying to register with, and that my SAM code has been made public. So I'm going to go ahead and enter now my UEI right in here. We only have one cage code, so I don't have to add that in here. If I had multiple cage codes, I'd probably want to make sure that it was in here. I'm going to go ahead and look it up. I'm confirming that this is in fact our company, that this is in fact our cage code. Great. And this is the cage code that the contract has been awarded under. So if you're a contract holder in OASIS, this is what your cage code should be. If it's not, you could just go ahead and simply try again. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Bob Smith. Sorry, any use of real names is by accident and works of fiction. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. And this is the QR code that I was talking about. So if you have the Authenticator app, you simply open it up, you show it this QR code, it's going to link your account, it's going to give you a 6-digit code. You'll notice that it's usually blue when it's ready to go. If it's about to expire, it starts turning red. You might want to wait for the blue to come back on, depending on how fast you type. If you are allowed to, and many companies aren't, you can also add the Google Authenticator extension to your browser. It's really nice. It makes, you can just go ahead and open it up, and it gives you the correct one. So I'm going to go ahead and now type that in. If you want to use SMS, you simply going to select the carrier, put in your phone number. You only need to put in the numbers, and then you're going to go ahead and get a text confirming that you received it. Once you receive that text, you just enter that 6-digit code right in here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Authenticator app. And I'm going to go ahead and validate and complete. Nope. I probably entered the wrong one. Hold on, sorry. This is why I usually try not to type too much for these things. It's not allowing me to do it. I'm guessing that it's something up with the staging code. Okay, let me go back to Authenticator app. Let me go ahead and add this one. Okay. It's actually making me use a real one. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And you guys can see how easy that one is that you're not probably allowed to use. There we go. Okay. So security was being real today on the staging site. So there you go. I'm in here. It should have told me that I wasn't able to get in. So if I try to log in right now, project.com. It's going to say my account is inactive. The reason my account is inactive is because I am not a trusted user of Symphony. The way we determine a trusted user of Symphony is that if your name is any one of the POCs listed in your SAM record, because we do hit that SAM record, then you will be considered a trusted user. If you're not in that list, then you will have this. You will get this message, and you will need to be activated by your SAM, either POC, or if you know who your Symphony administrator is, you can go ahead and contact them. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where that is real quick. Okay, so I am logged in. I am a contract holder in OASIS. We're not, but we have a test site on here. You'll notice that when you come here, if you are anxiously awaiting the OASIS Plus release, it's not here. This obviously is a staging site, but it will also be in here. So if you've already registered for OASIS, you don't have to register again for OASIS Plus. It'll be right here on the solicitation tab. And when it is released, you'll be able to go in here and put your offers in there. On here, you'll notice that we have the orders tab. You'll see up here some basic stats on your company's performance, any announcements you've seen coming out from Chelsea and her group, as well as any contract vehicle documents that you may need to access, and you would be able to find them in there. Any information about your company that you are uploading in preparation for OASIS Plus, you could do that in my company. It is not ready yet for OASIS Plus, so don't put too much effort into that, but just know that this is here for when you are starting your solicitation for OASIS Plus. We're not going to focus on that today. We're only going to focus on OASIS. But now I'm going to go into this administration tab. If you are an administrator for your company, you will have this tab. If you don't, you're not. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to see that Bob Smith has registered, and I can go in here and you'll notice that I have to change him from an initial state. See how this button is kind of grayed out? It's that way on purpose. It's so you don't accidentally hit or change anything, but you have to, with intent, go in and make him active. And as soon as I do that, we can go ahead and update his status. If Bob, in the future, you want him to manage the users within your system, you can go ahead and make him an administrator and simply update it right there. Okay. If for some reason you wanted Bob to also be your proposal manager for any open market solicitations like OASIS Plus, you would simply click on that. That would give him the ability to also submit your proposals and manage all of that for you. If you still need help, right here, there's a help button. You can always go into help. There's tons of searchable information in here, and I will go through that in more detail in a few minutes to show you where that is. But I'm also going to show you one other thing real quick. So in my profile, if you are a POC for your company, you want to make sure that you put your phone number in here. OASIS and all the programs like to have your phone number in case they need to contact you. So please make sure that you go into your profile right here and update it. Again, so you don't accidentally hit a button. As soon as you modify it though, it will be highlighted. So you can go ahead and save your contact information there. If for some reason you know that you are getting a new phone, go ahead and scan your QR code so you don't have to wait on us to send it to you. Not that we mind you guys sending us the help desk tickets, but if you need to, just know that your QR code is here and you can go ahead and set up your phone or have it ready for you for when you get your new device. And you can also change your password in here. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard real quick and show you how the orders tab works. So notifications for Symphony are sent to what we call a distribution email. If I were to, within my company, within my contracts, I'm going to go and I'm going to click on the contract vehicle and I'm going to see what my distribution email is. The distribution email is something that you can manage yourself. And I know that this has been a question in the past, and I know a lot of you have individuals that are actually, this individual is this email address. The reason we send it to a distribution email is so that you can have multiple people on that distribution email. So if I were to set this up myself, I can go ahead and go into points of contact and I can update this, right? And I could update this to like, say, like OASIS contract at apexlogic.com.test, whatever your domain is, right? And then I'm going to set that up inside of my company. And then I can have every single person that I want getting notified for Symphony notifications. Because if I set up Bob here and then 2 months later, Bob quits or is fired or is, in a really sad case, run over by a bus, you're not getting those notifications now. And so we really encourage you to make sure so that we are, providing fair opportunity for all notifications, that you set up an email address in here, okay? And that you have this managed by your own internal IT folks, right? So when somebody leaves, you have a process for removing people from access. So you can go ahead and remove them, from, or their email won't work for this distribution email. And so you can always make sure. Now, when you go ahead and change this, it is going to ask you to put in a validation code. This email was now sent to that distribution email to make sure that there is somebody actually associated with that distribution email address. So like if you have an info@yourcompany.com, right? Or if you have jobs@yourcompany.com, you simply set up something that multiple people can always have access to. And this is what we use for any notifications. Are there any questions about this while I'm here on? I know that this has been a difficult thing for a lot of people to understand. So I just want to make sure that I'm really clear here.
Jen, do you want me to read some of the questions that were submitted? Some of them are similar.
That'd be great, because I can see them.
Yeah. There's a couple questions about whether there can be more than one proposal manager.
So anybody who's an administrator can also submit it, right? But the proposal manager is maybe somebody you want to be in charge. An administrator is somebody, I mean, obviously you don't want to make too many people an administrator, for security reasons, but security people can also submit your proposal. So don't worry about that. If you're worried, but you might want to give somebody who's maybe an external proposal writer the ability to do that without giving them administration rights, right? They might just be a staff member who is also the proposal manager for this solicitation. And so therefore, you don't have to have them approve, other people, but that they're going to be able to manage the proposal and submit it when they need to.
But Jen, can you have more than one proposal manager or just one?
Just one.
I think.
But as I said, multiple people can submit. We want to make sure that there's not too many cooks in the kitchen. If you have, now you can have as many people as you want for your company registered inside a Symphony.
Okay,
there are
that's
no
another
limitations
question
to how many people can be registered. But again, do you want these notifications coming out, through the distribution email, or do you want people actually in there and submitting questions, which I'm going to show you how to do later. So this is a matter of how you manage your access to these things. So you could have 20 people on that distribution email and they're all getting notified when a task order is released, right? And then you guys put it through your process. You put it into your Salesforce.com or whatever. We are not associated with Salesforce.com. But you put it into whatever your sales pipeline management tool is, and then you can manage it through your distribution email that way. But everybody knows because they're on that distribution email. So it just depends on how many people you want in the system who can A, respond to proposals, B, respond to Q&A, and do, everything that you want to do with the proposal. So it's how you want to manage that is really,
Jen, are only folks on the distribution list the ones that'll get notices about opportunities, or will anyone who is registered with the Symphony account also receive those notices?
No, we only send it to that distribution email, which is why everybody should be on that distribution email address or address that you manage internally. Now, during actual open market solicitations, if there is a clarification to your offer, if there are things, for instance, during the OASIS Plus proposal, your POCs and your SAM POCs would also get notified, because we want to make sure that everybody is notified for that. But for using this for the task order management, the distribution email is the one that is used for all the notifications.
There's a question. Can you clarify that is one proposal manager per task order or just one proposal manager per company?
So the proposal manager is for the open market solicitation. Anybody else who has access within your system that is an administrator can respond to a proposal. So the open market proposal manager is only for the solicitation, say for OASIS Plus, or when during the on-ramping for OASIS or Astro or Polaris. So it's only for that part of it. The open market proposal manager does not have anything to do with responding to proposals within Symphony for task orders.
Hi, Jen. This is Chelsea. We're going to let you get back to your presentation, and when
Okay.
you finalize it, we'll go back to the questions as planned.
Okay.
Thank you.
So anyway, so that was the distribution. So if somebody's on the other end, you would enter in your validation code and be able to validate it. So somebody does need to be there. If you don't, it won't actually complete the change. You'll notice over here that we have the COPMs, COCMs. Any registered user that is in here can be added as one of these people. So I can obviously switch it out to somebody else. So I can send it to Bob. He is now currently the program manager, and I can go ahead and update him. And then inside of here, any documents that that you have as part of your contract vehicle, any modifications. And these are things we're gonna start seeing features roll out. We weren't making changes for a little while. But now things are actually starting to roll out. So you'll start seeing new features, and we'll make those announcements as they're coming. for managing your actual contract. So I'm going to go back now to the dashboard. I've entered in a project or a task order request here. You'll notice that there's all of these. I can go ahead and filter right here on anything that has been released. So anything pending questions or pending proposals. I can see right here that I have this. I can also filter on either task orders or market research types if I wanted to do that. And then I can also, if I'm looking for something in particular, just do a search here, right here. Don't forget to clear your filters, so you make sure that you capture anything that you're trying to search for. So if I want to search for, if I were in here, and I want to search for like EPA, it's going to filter it real quick to any of the EPA task orders that were released that I was looking for. These are not actual task orders that have been released in OASIS, so don't think that you missed out on something. These are all strictly test and demo, excuse me, task orders that we've set up just for the purposes of the demonstration. So I'm going to go ahead and sort on released, and I'm going to see in here that there is one for the industry demo project. I can see that the release date was today. Q&A deadline is 4/25. Proposal deadline is here. I'm going to go ahead and select it right now. And I can go in here and see kind of the overview summary of what it is. I know that this is probably something that my company is interested in since it's in the pool that I have been awarded a contract in. So I can go ahead and review the documents here simply by going in here and seeing the actual documents. And I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. I have already typed in a couple questions, so you don't have to watch me type some more. Nobody likes that. So you'll notice down here that I have unsubmitted questions down here. Please note that these are unsubmitted. The office will not see them until you actually click submit. Usually we can type in like this section M, and then this is another question. Go ahead and save and add. So when you ask your questions in here, it's really nice in that once the Q&A period is over, you'll actually be able to see any answers that the program office or the CO or the task order actually puts in here. So I'm going to go ahead and submit my questions. If you want to delete it, you can always delete it. You can go ahead and edit it. You can even reorder it if it makes sense for you to have them, you know, kind of in a different order for your final review. You can go ahead and submit those questions. I'm going to give you one last chance to not. You'll notice now they are submitted questions. Please don't forget to submit. And you'll notice right here, it says that the program office has not responded. This meaning that when they go ahead and respond to your questions in here, and then they release them to all of the contract holders in Symphony, your answer actually to your direct question will be right here. So it makes it a little bit easier for you guys. You don't have to read what could be a huge document to get the answers just to your questions. Any amendments that come in here, you would see here, and this is what the CEO would initiate through Symphony. And then when you're ready to respond, you'd simply go into here. So I can either upload a proposal or submit a no bid. I don't know what OASIS is doing. I know that some other program offices require that you, if you're not going to do it, put in a no bid and then type your reason in. They like to see maybe the ordering activities are not providing you with all the information or the timing, or there's something wrong and maybe there's a training issue that needs to happen. And they also want us to make sure that, you know, you guys are getting access to everything. So if you guys submit no bid, they know, and it's kind of like a communication for them. But if you want to go ahead and upload a proposal, you're simply going to do it right here. And so you drop your files in here, type in the number of files so that we can confirm that it's just an extra check to make sure. And then you can do it. You could always withdraw it after you submit it. So I'm going to go ahead and you would simply put it in here. And then when you would see your proposal right here. You would not see anybody else's proposals, only your proposal. Okay. So that would be that process. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard then. And I'm going to go into orders. We're putting out some new enhancements that you'll see. shortly. Things that'll make it a little bit easier to use this dashboard. I know that we've had some feedback on it. And OASIS specifically has a lot of task orders coming through it. So we want to try and make it a little easier for you. So you'll start to see things, and we'll make announcements as we're rolling them out for you. You'll also notice here that we have external orders. These are the eBuy orders. They don't click on them. You can't get any other information through here. OASIS handles this externally. Basically, they get a download from eBuy. I think I said eBay, I meant eBuy. And then they upload it into our system. So we don't really have anything to do with this. If you're on here and you're seeing that something's been released and you can't click on it, I'm sorry. If it's in the external orders, we don't really have anything to do with it. We only handle these orders. So if you have any questions in here, we also, this system will also send out, if the COs choose to use it, notifications of awards and everything like that. So does anybody have any questions now? Did I answer all the questions, Chelsea? Do you think I did?
No, you didn't answer all the questions. But you're finished with your part of the presentation, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll go back through the questions. I know some of them were already answered previously when Grace was asking, but let's just go back through and run through from top to bottom of this, because we have like 16 questions and we just marked them all for to answer live. So we'll just go for the first one. It says, in the absence of the current OASIS email distro that notifies industry of newly released RFPs, RFIs, will industry receive some other similar email notice of postings released in Symphony portal for OASIS? And I believe Jennifer answered this one, that if you're on the, and you can correct me, Jennifer, if you set up the email distro and you're part of that email distribution, then yes, you will receive a notification when an RFI, RFP, or sources sought is posted. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Correct. Amendments, any other notifications, as long as you're on that distribution email.
Okay. The next question is there a special way to sign up for this type of email notification within the Symphony portal? And Jennifer, I believe you showed us this. Can you run back through and show, because there's another question about how to set up the email distro notification.
So you're going to set up that email distribution in your own company. So like, for instance, if you have an information or info at yourcompany.com and you have multiple people that are attached to that, it's the same thing. So if you were to set up an email called like OASIS contracts at yourcompany.com and then made sure that you were on that distribution email, then you're going to get a notification anytime it goes out. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say, can you go into the portal and show me where, if I set up the, at email at Chelsea Hayes group, where I would enter that distro email?
So you're going to go into point of contacts and you're going to simply go to the distribution email. And so you're literally going to enter in whatever your internal distribution. So like, for instance, we have distribution blank. But it could be like OASIS contracts at apexlogic.com, right? That's what we're going to set up internally. And I might be on that, and Bob might be on that, and Kaya might be on that, and Simon might be on that, and then Simon leaves the company and then we remove him from the distribution email and now he doesn't get any more notifications. But you would manage that internally, right? So you don't have to come in here and then start, removing people. So that's what we're saying. So this is something you could have 30 people on that. You might have your entire sales force getting notifications whenever there's a task order or, an amendment or something is released from Symphony. But all of them don't need to obviously register in Symphony to get those notifications.
So in relation to this question, Jennifer, we have a couple of questions saying that they don't have the point of contacts view. So their dashboard looks different from yours, and they don't have that. The point of contacts is not showing in their dashboard.
Okay, so I went into, maybe it's, you can't find it. So do you guys have a My Company link?
That's actually, I'm going to ask the asker of this question to come off of mute. I don't know if John set up the meeting. If John set up the training that way, John, can we allow the participants to come off mute?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay. So let me go find who asked this question. So
you'd simply go into My Company, Contracts. You're going to select the contract that you want to set the distribution, and then you're going to go into Point of Contacts.
And so this question was asked by Michelle Eckstein.
Additionally, there's also more information about that in the help and information. So if you just go in there and you search for like points of contact or distribution email, it'll take you right to that. So if I were to go into help, I simply could search for how to get Symphony notifications, right? And so it'll just basically in My Company and Symphony, and it gives you all the information that you would need to get in order to find out where that is. But I'm just gonna show you again real quick. So I went into My Company. I clicked on the contracts because each one could have a different POC. Some of the bigger contracts or bigger companies have actually different points of contacts for each one. And then you're going to select the contract number that you are going to work with. So this is the contract. You can see right here that this is displayed for me. And then I can go ahead and modify the contract manager, the program manager, as well as the distribution email right here.
So Jen, let me ask you another question. So is the point of contacts at a lower level, at the contract level?
Yeah, it's at the contract level, right? It's in, yeah. So I went into My Company and then I'm sorry. And then I selected contracts.
We got a couple messages back. I dismissed them, so you might not have seen them, but they said that I think that resolved the question from the
good.
who would ask that.
Yeah, because it was the contract. That was the question. So let's go to the next question. If solicitations that are imported, did I answer this one? Do we answer this one? If solicitations that are imported from eBuy into Symphony must be responded to by offerers via eBuy, how will we be able to identify these imported solicitations in Symphony? Jen, I can answer this question. So daily, we import the eBuy offers into Symphony, and so that you all are able to view them all in one location, meaning the Symphony offers and the eBuy offers. However, that's where you can view them at. But if the opportunity is an eBuy solicitation, then you have to respond or offer in eBuy.
And it's called external orders here. So yes. These are Symphony orders, and then these are external orders. So you know that these are all coming from eBuy.
Okay, so the next question, how many users can we have for our OASIS contract?
As many as you want. As I said, though, you might want to manage that. You know, you could put them all in the distribution email and only have a few that are going to be responding to Q&A and submitting proposals. You may not want 30 people responding to Q&A and submitting proposals. You may only want a few that are managing that, but you want everybody to be notified. So you'd simply add them to your distribution email. It's your internal security and processes that, you know, allow you to do how you want it. Okay,
so we have another question kind of relating to the previous question about the My Company. And they're saying, the question is that under the My Company tab, my menu on the left side does not match yours. I do not have a points of contact, but I do have a SAM data option.
No, you don't have contracts?
They said, I do not have a points of contact.
Yeah, so you would have to go into contracts. Now remember, this is all for OASIS. If you do not have an OASIS contract and you happen to be in here, then you might not see it because this is only for OASIS contract holders. If you don't have a contract, you're not going to see this.
Okay.
Until you actually are awarded a contract.
Okay.
But if you have a contract and you're registered with the correct UEI and cage code, then you're going to have this button right here. And you simply go in. And I'm glad everybody's pointing this out because obviously I think getting to this point is a little complicated, so we should probably make that easier.
Okay. So next question, are administrators the only ones allowed to submit content like RFPs, sources sought notices, and requests for information?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. Next question, does only the main owner of the account have the points of contact option under the company overview?
No. Administrators do.
Okay. How does one add a proposal manager to Symphony?
It depends. You only need to do that if you're responding to an open market, like an on-ramping or to like, you know, for instance, OASIS Plus. So that would be, you know, your proposal manager. So if you have an internal proposal manager, you want to assign somebody for that, or you have, you know, an external one that you want to assign for that. It's so that you don't have to make them an administrator. That's what the purpose of that open market proposal manager is. You don't need one for working with task order releases.
Okay. Then the next question, this individual does not see the page to set up a distro email. I don't know if this question came in before you showed us or after you showed us.
Okay, so I mean, I'm sure people are
Yes, if you want to, yeah,
tired
if you
of
want
me
to go
explaining it.
but just in case we have someone who doesn't, if you want to walk back through it really quickly, just what do you click on?
My company. If you have a
Mhm.
contract with an OASIS, you're going to click on contracts and the contract vehicle. And then you're going to see them right here. If you don't have a contract, you won't see this. Okay, you won't see that button. If you still need help, simply click on this. Type in distribution. Search for it, and it's going to tell you how to set up your distribution email in Symphony. Okay.
All right. Okay, so next question. Will Symphony allow more than one open market proposal manager? We should be able to have a backup.
So any of your administrators, like your SAM POCs, all of them are your backups.
Okay. Do you have to assign a program manager?
No. You don't. As I said, it's the purpose of that open market proposal manager is so that you could actually have somebody who can submit, but does not have permissions to add people or delete people or to manage your users. Many companies hire external proposal writers. They probably don't want them managing their people, but they do want them in charge of the proposal. And that is the purpose of that button.
Okay. So next question. In my view, let me read this. Okay, so you've already answered this question. It has to do with the points of contacts in the view. So we are going to move on. Would no bid prevent you from submitting a proposal to the same OASIS bid later on? Do you understand what they're asking? I think I do.
So, well, you don't have to click no bid until you know that you're not going to bid, or you can change your mind if the date has not passed. Okay. If the date is not passed and you click no bid, then you can go ahead and change that to an upload proposal. Okay. As long as the date's not passed, you can always change your mind. Right. The thing is, like the no bid, so it's really nice. Like, so for instance, and I probably shouldn't be saying this to you guys, but like when the COs put in their stuff and they give you like a 2-week turnaround time, sometimes, you know, it might not be enough. So you can, you know, say that you probably don't have enough time to bid. Okay. And that's, I mean, that is the purpose, but it allows them to, if they need to, extend the time on that. You know, and monitor that so they don't have to actually release a whole new task order if, you know, if nobody bids on it, right? So it gives them visibility into, they know how many people are actually bidding on it. So it's really nice for them as well.
All right, thank you. So next question, let me scroll back up. Can a user see all of the Q&As related to one task order RFP, or only the answers to the questions the user has uploaded?
You only see the ones that you submitted that are answered in your view, but they are not actually answered until they are released to everybody. So as soon as they're released, everybody has visibility into all of the Q&A. But just so you can find yours more easily, yours are on that screen. But no, you can see all of them. Of course you can. They're not, and the answers aren't even released until they're released to everybody.
Okay, and you explained this one already as well. What is the difference between orders and external orders under the dashboard?
So orders are in Symphony, external orders are going to be eBuy.
Okay. So we have already answered this one. It has to do with point of contacts. Let me remove this. Is there a way to flag or mark orders for ease of access and monitoring?
It's coming soon, I promise. I know. I know.
Okay, next question. As we are a current OASIS unrestricted pool 1 holder, should we be seeing details on our dashboard tab about this? We do not currently see this the same way as Jennifer displays, as your display does, Jennifer.
I don't understand what, are you saying, so you're an unrestricted pool 1 contract vehicle holder? And you're
Correct.
not seeing, you should only see orders for the pools that you're in.
Correct. Okay, so is there a way to see what permissions the role types provide? I am an administrator, but I don't have access to project or past performance. I'd like to know what user type I need to be switched to in order to gain access to that module.
Hold on real quick. Is my company open yet? On prod? Oh, you should have access to that in my company. I don't understand why you wouldn't. Yeah, because that's the same, it's the same pathway that I took to get to contracts.
So I'm going to take that one to the side. I know who is asking that question. Did you want to take us back through the pathway, Jen?
Yes, I clicked on my company. And here are past performances. So this is for you to use on future solicitations, but you may not want to enter anything until you know what those future solicitations are looking for.
Okay. So how does one add business factors under company overview in the My Company tab?
Go into business factors.
That's not.
Oh, that's not available yet? Okay. That's not available on Pride yet because I think we're waiting on the latest release for OASIS Plus. We didn't want people putting in stuff that they weren't going to need.
Okay. For example, is there no contract performance tile on the left-hand side of the dashboard? I don't understand this question. For instance, okay, I think they're responding to another question that was already answered.
So they're saying we don't see this. Would you, whoever that user is, could you just send us a ticket? No, regarding this, and we'll go ahead and take that offline.
Okay. Next question. My company UEI is showing at the top of the page, but not on the SAM data page or company overview page.
Within OASIS, OASIS was on ramp before the UEI, so you're probably seeing the DUNS number. So we haven't put that in there, but it is within my company. Is you have the UEI. It's all linked. It's all the same data. Just within the actual contract information for OASIS, you're not going to see the UEI.
Next question. Are the mods for a contract going to be loaded in Symphony?
Yes. Eventually.
Okay. My dashboard view isn't showing contract performance. We have multiple active task orders.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, please just send us a ticket.
Yeah. So for that, the individual who is anonymous who asked that question, can you please submit a help desk ticket to Apex Logic? Another individual says they don't have those modules either. Please submit a help desk ticket.
If you don't have a contract, if you're not a contract holder with an OASIS and you only are seeing the solicitation tab, you're not going to have those. So for instance, if I don't have a contract with OASIS, I'm only going to see this tab. I'm not going to see these tabs. So if you're looking for these tabs, but you don't have a contract, then that's correct. If you do have a contract and you're not seeing these tabs or these boxes, then please send us a ticket.
Next question. My company shows company overview on the left with 3 options: SAM, data, contracts, and document library. I'm not sure what the question is. So we are going to
just wait. We're going to be updating this with the OASIS Plus stuff coming soon. And so you'll be able to go in and see more content for you to, you know, for you to be able to add your information in there. Okay. And they will let you know when it's available for you. I hope everybody can hear my drinking behind me. I'm sorry.
Let's see. I'm looking for. Okay, so this company. So the question asker says that their company has multiple contracts and current contracts, but they cannot see all the contracts under Pool 1 login. Is a user able to see multiple contracts awarded to their company under one login, or do you need a different login for each contract? And it looks like Grace answered this, so we are going to move on. And the answer is that you need a different login for each contract. So if you have an OASIS contract, then you need your login for OASIS. If you have an OASIS, if in the future, if you have an OASIS Plus contract, you will need a different login.
No, that's not true. No. If OASIS and OASIS Plus are on the same, will be on the same instance.
And Jen, this question is from a company that says we have multiple contracts and cannot see all the contracts under one login. I think what they mean is they have multiple OASIS contracts. They should be able to see them all under.
Yeah, they should be able to.
All their OASIS. Okay. So Absolutely. If you're talking about the company that asked that, if you're talking about having multiple OASIS contracts and not being able to see them under one login, I would recommend submitting a help desk ticket to resolve that. Now, if you have different contracts, like Astro, for example, that's a different environment, a different instance of it. So that would be a different system, but at least everything OASIS should be on this environment.
But now also note, you need to make sure that the cage code and the UEI match what the contracts are under. So if there are different cage codes for different contracts, or because that's considered, or if you're not, you might want to just check them all and make sure that they're all the same.
All right, next question. Are the current POCs for our OASIS contract transferred to the new RFP for OASIS Plus, or do we need to establish them?
I'm sorry, will the what?
So their current points of contacts that they have in Symphony for their current OASIS contract?
Yes, it'll be different. It'll be different. Or it could be the same people. If you've registered, you just simply go in and, I went in here and
so if it's the same people.
This is OASIS, right? And so I went into my OASIS contract. But when I go into the solicitation for OASIS Plus, they're going to have their own POC requirements, right? And so you'd have to enter them in. Now, if these people are already registered in here, you simply select them. So you would just simply go in and select them. but we're not going to talk about OASIS Plus right now. We're only talking about OASIS.
Let's see. Do we upload our contracts into Symphony, or should they show up automatically? I have no documents, past performance. Does this happen when I upload to submit a proposal?
I'm not quite sure I understand that.
Yeah.
If there's nothing in there, I mean, you have your contract, right? But you don't have, are you saying that the documents are not in here?
Right. So they're the master, so if they are an OASIS contract holder, then they are in Symphony if they've registered, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If
So
they
I mean,
haven't-
but their contract is, I don't know where they start their contract.
Right.
The
Okay.
actual contract itself. I'm guessing that's what they're asking. I don't know.
Oh, gosh, 1 second. Let me get to the next question. We're going to come back to this question. I know what they're asking, but I want to, it's going to create conversation. So I want to hold off on that one. Do you need your SAM POC to sign up for Symphony?
Yes. If you want to be activated, one of your SAM POCs needs to be registered in Symphony in order to activate all the other users.
Okay, so we're down to the final 5 questions. If submitting a proposal for, we said we're not going to talk about OASIS Plus, for OASIS Plus as a JV, is there a way to firewall a person from the mentor or protege from seeing the financial response and vice versa?
I can answer that one or non-answer that one. Not within the system, but if you look in the RFP, there's a specific section about how financial matters will be treated as a responsibility matter and wouldn't be regarded as like a proposal omission if that information is missing. So that language is already in the draft RFP. I'll go dig it out and then answer your question in the chat with the specific reference for whatever section it is in the draft RFP to direct you to that language.
All right, so down to the last 3. Is there a way for multiple UEIs to be associated with one user? We have 2 JVs that hold different OASIS contracts, which require multiple logins to Symphony.
Not right now, no.
Okay. So this company says that they wanted a Pool 1 small business contract that still shows as under evaluation. How do they get that reported as a win?
Where are they seeing this under evaluation?
So Bob, can you send a help desk ticket for this question?
Yes, please.
Okay, and so the final question is Deltec GovWin Tunes, we've talked about this in our meetings, Jen, allowed access to scrape our Symphony registered contracts the same way it does for GSA mass contracts?
Not right now, no.
Okay. And so that is all the questions, and we're right at 2 o'clock. So I will say, if you have additional questions that are related to Symphony, the system, or software, please submit a help desk ticket if you're having trouble with your overview, points of contacts, any of that type thing. If you still need assistance, there was a question too, will there be additional training? We're going to continue to monitor going forward the responses from industry. There will of course be continued customer training, but if we need to continue to have training as we move forward into the final sunsetting of OASIS and into OASIS Plus, absolutely we will. But this training has been recorded and will be posted soon. So we'll send out a link to the posting of this recording.
So Chelsea, in regards to that, everybody who holds an OASIS Prime contract will get the link to this so that you can refer back to any of the Q&As as well as the demo. And then as far as Jen's concerned, they have quite a few different videos that are already pre-made that people can review if they have other additional questions that are out there on the site. So
Thanks, John. I was just going to say, yeah, there's a ton of content in that help and it's easily searchable. Just click on the help button and go in there before before you submit a ticket, because you might just find it really easily. There's a ton of content in there, and we're always working to make it better. So.
All right. And so thank you, Jennifer, John, Grace, and everyone who attended today's open house for Symphony.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks.